Okay, can y'all hear me now? Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me. Please and thank y'all. Please put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me. I see you. I'm gonna let you up in a second, Auntie. I just need to know that y'all can hear me. One second. Uh-oh. Okay. Y'all should be able to hear me now, right? Y'all hear me? Oh no, she left. She left, y'all. But anyways, welcome back to the neighborhood. It's your girl Nay, and I'm back with another live video. Today we'll be having a conversation with wisdom. We have the queen, OG Patrice, in the neighborhood. Y'all make sure y'all share this live, share this live, share this live. Get the word out. Let the people know that the queen is here. The queen is here. The queen is here. Y'all make sure y'all showing love in the chat for the OG. Yes, yes, yes. And without further ado, welcome to the stage, OG Patrice. Hello.
Hey, greetings and salutations. People. Thank you for
Hi.
inviting me to the neighborhood.
You're a little muffled. I can't hear you. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
It's still a little
Is
muffled. You're
that
going in and out.
okay? Is that better? How about now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you welcoming me to the neighborhood. Salute to you in the chat.
Absolutely. 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 So we're just gonna jump right in if that's cool with you.
All
So
right, let's
let's
get right in.
all right, so let's jump right into it. Tell us who Patrice is. Like tell us who you are.
Well, I am many people, right? I'm a mother.
Mm-hmm.
I am a mother. I'm a sister. I'm an aunt. I'm a daughter. I'm a woman. I'm an artist.
Yes.
So the combination of those things make me who I am, and I still stand on one standard of integrity. My stance is integrity. My stance is truth. My
Mm-hmm.
stance is me being a woman of my word, and my stance is also me being an example for the younger generation as someone who is from and older elk of a generation of people whose shoulders I stand on. So
Right.
my truth coming on YouTube is to be that for the younger generation coming after me to try to leave that legacy. I do that in my real life, and I try to exemplify that in these YouTube streets on social media as well.
Okay. So you said that you were an artist. Where did that begin for you?
Um, it began long, long time ago in a land far, far away. No, I'm just playing. But
I
it
love
it
it.
started. It did start when I was about 9 years old in church. Right, I have a
Mm-hmm.
Baptist religious background upbringing, and my father is responsible for me having that. And I'm very grateful and appreciative of that because, again, all those things I stand on, my principles and my morals and values and integrity stands on that upbringing. So even though I don't practice organized religion anymore, I still believe in God. I still stand on those principles that I was raised on, the principles of right, wrong, and truth. And no matter what, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, always try to tell the truth and always stand on what you believe in and fight for what you believe in. So those that background of that religion, I still have that embedded in me, even though I don't practice organized religion anymore per
Mm-hmm.
se. I started singing in the church when I was about 9 years old. I joined the choir when my dad first heard me be able to carry a tune. That's what they did back in the day. They hear you carry a tune. Oh, my baby can sing. And
So,
they
what
throw
was
you
your
in.
first song you sung? Not to cut you off, but what was your first song that you sang?
My first solo, I'll say this. I didn't start out singing like as a solo artist. I joined the crowd. I joined the choir at first, and just became a
Right.
part of the choir, and back then I was younger. So I was second soprano. I'm an alto now because you get older, your
Okay.
voice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was a second soprano and I was sang in a choir. And then my dad was very close with the choir director because my dad was always leading songs in the choir, him and my stepmom. So he convinced the choir director to give me my first solo. And I think I got my first solo. I probably was about 11 or 12 years old at that time. Other than that, I was just glad to be in the choir singing. And
Right.
got my first solo. I'll never forget the name of the song I sang was "You Can't Hide from God." That was my song that I sang.
Mm, you good in
Yeah,
Baptist then.
yes,
Good
exactly.
in
It was good.
Baptist.
You can't hide from God. If anybody looked that song up, that's one of them old school songs.
Mm-hmm.
Gospel segment where they say you can run to the mountains, you can run to the sea, you can try to hide up under the rock, but you can't hide from God.
Yes.
So whatever, and that still holds true right today, right? Because
Right.
people think that they hiding things, and you may be hiding things from other people, but you're not hiding them from God. So
hmm So let's
that's what.
fast forward a little bit, staying in the vein of your artistry. So you start
Yeah.
out in church, and then you get a little older, and now you are performing secular music and things of that nature. What was that journey like for you? How did you come to that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Hmm?
I sang in church all up until I was in high school. Then when I was in high school, I joined the choir in high school. Again,
Hmm.
starting to lead songs, being able to sing at graduation ceremonies and things of that nature. That led to me my start of secular music, right? So when you go
Okay.
from maybe gospel and now you singing songs at graduation, you may be doing the Pledge of Allegiance, you may be doing the
Hmm.
singing, what is it? The preamble to the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Then you go into the song, "Oh, say can you see," and all of that. So, and then you graduate from that to singing at graduation. So now you singing things like "We've Only Just Begun." We singing things like I sung at one graduation. I sung "I Believe I Can Fly." So just things of that nature you start doing. But early on, after I graduated high school, I did 2 years of college, got my associate's degree, and I ended up being homeschooled to get my bachelor's degree because at that point at that point I was touring in my career, so I was like homeschooling to make sure that I still continued to get my bachelor's degree. And then by that time, my dad had left gospel music and was
Mm.
singing secular music. He traveled singing gospel music with groups like the Jackson Southernaires because my parents come from Mississippi. And
Yes.
yeah, and they were born and raised in Greenwood. Then they lived in Jackson, Mississippi. So I got a bunch of family in Mississippi. And my
Okay.
father joined the Jackson Southernaires, who was very popular gospel group back in the day.
I
And
know who
then
they are.
yeah, and then from that it led on to him moving on and being a part of the Soul Stirrers for a moment. And a lot of people may
Oh
not know that
wow.
that Sam Cooke's when he left gospel, Sam Cooke joined the Soul Stirrers. So that
Hmm.
led to father traveling and touring with Sam Cooke, with Johnny Taylor, and all those people. So that entail landed me to be able to tour on the blues sector for many, many years, as I did with the likes of Johnny Taylor and Millie Jackson and Bobby Blue Bland and what's his name, Otis Clay and Little Milton. So all
Hmm.
those my father had toured and sang background for, and I got into that because we also had a famous a cousin that was a blues singer by the name of Tyrone Davis. He was out of the west side of Chicago.
Oh, I
And
love it.
yeah, and so being related to him opened up a lot of doors for me as well, to being able to background sing and tour for him. So I was in the blues sector for more part of almost 30 years of me being in the entertainment world. I almost became the daughter-in-law of Johnny Taylor because I dated one of his sons. I ain't gonna say which
Oh
one, but
Lord. Now you want them
dated.
last $2. That's what happened. That's why you married.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I know.
right. So, being in the entertainment business on the blues side, touring. After I did that, I landed in Vegas, and
Mm.
my dream was to always be a part of a major production show in Vegas, to be able to see your name and your face and lights up on one of those big canvases that they have in Vegas.
Oh.
I went to Vegas 20 years ago, and I wanted to see that dream come true, and I actually made that dream come true. I lived in Vegas for 17 years, and I portrayed Etta James in a major production show called Solid Gold Soul. I did that for a
Mm-hmm.
few years, got my stamp in Vegas, which led to other opportunities for me to be able to sing and work with people like Fat Joe. I worked with Brian McKnight, and people like that, right? Just doing background, or just
Mm-hmm.
even in the back, or even just in the background working on the back end of it. Not always on stage. Like I did some production work and things like that for like Brian McKnight and stuff like that. But I was able to be on some songs that y'all might not even know because they didn't give me credit for. But he paid me well, so
Mm-hmm.
I can't even front. But Fat Joe paid me very well to like come in the studio and sing like ad libs and stuff on songs of his. But a lot
Mm-hmm.
of when they pay you under the table in cash, they don't give you credit on the songs for it
Right.
on the
Right.
record itself. But yeah, so things like that, I was able to in Vegas have an opportunity of being blessed to meet a lot of entertainers that live there. That's where I met and befriended Al B. Shore, um, Teddy Riley, you know,
Mm.
Flavor Flav. That's where I met Danny Boy for the first time, even though I heard of Danny Boy because he's from my hometown. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I knew I knew Jewel, First Lady of Death Row. We used to attend the same church back in the day. She's a little younger than I was, but I do remember her hanging out more so with my sister because she was closer to my sister's age. And
Mm-hmm.
our churches visited each other's churches. So that's how I got to know Jewel. And then every time when I was on tour and I would be in California, Jewel would sneak me in Death Row Records, and I would kick it with her. And I never met Pac, but I have an amazing story of how I would hear Pac singing in the booth, right? Because Jewel would sneak me in the booth, and I did not know for a long time that my god brother was actually a bodyguard for Pac. I did not know that until I ran into him at the studio. And of course,
Mm.
I tried to use that as clout, to let him make me
Right.
see, go in the booth and meet Tupac. But honey, he was dead firm about Tupac not wanting to be disturbed when he was doing recording sessions. So he didn't even
Mm.
let me in, and he was my god brother. But anyway, I was just honored to even just be in the
Yeah.
building and presence of Tupac because I think he is one of the greatest prolific poets of our time that I believe that had he lived, he would have definitely revolutionized hip hop and made it something different from what it is now, from the fiasco that I feel that hip hop has turned to. Now, I believe that he would have made a pinnacle difference in putting a more positive light on hip hop because of the songs he was singing prior to him, turning to more thug and gangster. I believe that it was a
Mm-hmm.
calling life that he it that he was tugging with, it was vexing his spirit for him to change from what he was doing, because he had started speaking on that before he, his untimely demise, unfortunately. But being around that scene for a while, I was definitely honored to have at least been in the presence of him. I wasn't able to go to Jewel's funeral that she had in Texas, because they took her body from California, and that he did the funeral in Texas, I believe, where her mom and them live. But I've known her and her family for many years. I met Danny Boy in Las Vegas as well, and he and I stayed cool because we knew some of the same people in the industry, the same way me and Jag did. I knew of Jag because of my love of neo
I was gonna
soul.
get there. I was gonna get there. You jumping the gun on me a little bit, Auntie.
I'm
So
sorry,
that
but yeah,
brings me to my
no,
next question. I'm sorry, were you about to say something?
no, no, go ahead, babe.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. Okay, so you are a church girl, you grow up, you matriculate into secular music, you fulfill your dream of seeing your name in lights. Where does the introduction to Jaguar Wright begin for you?
Kind of the same way. In Vegas, I had my partner and my girlfriend, and I had a radio show in
Uh-huh.
Las Vegas. And when Jaguar Wright went viral on YouTube over 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, I had already, knew of her, like I said, because of my love for neo soul,
Uh-huh.
and later finding out that she and I knew people in the industry, like Al B. Sure, like Music Soul Child, and people of that nature that she
Mhm.
had that come to find out we knew some of the same people in the industry, right? So we were only 6 degrees from knowing the same people, from us knowing each other. So
Mhm.
my partner and I, where I reached out to her because my partner wanted to get Jag on the show, and so did I, on the radio show, because she had went viral. And I reached out to Jag by way of Nosy Ho. Nosy Ho is actually the one that connected us together, right? So
Uh-huh.
I reached out to Nosy to reach out to Jag, and shout out to Nosy because she did do that. And I've always shouted her out for making that connection. And so I connected with Jag through that way. My partner and we paid for everything for her and Goomba to come to Vegas. I paid for their suite they stayed in. I paid for their mileage for them to to be able to transport from, I
Mhm.
believe at the time they were in Phoenix, Arizona, and now
Okay.
they traveled to Las Vegas. So paid for their meals and drinks, and everything was just on the radio station, was on us at that time, and did the interview with Jag, and she and I became real cool. I want
So
I
how did it go? Not to cut you
go.
off.
Mhm.
How did it go from you conducting a interview with your partner on a radio show with her to you guys becoming some type of friends on some type of level? Like, take me through that journey.
Yeah, and that happened because of, like, when you know some of the same people in the industry, you kind of
Uh-huh.
connect in that way, right? And Jag
Mhm.
didn't know that I was at the Grey Goose concert that her and Music Soul Child did, because I had met Music way back then. And
Uh-huh.
so, but I didn't know Jag. So I saw her on stage, but I never was introduced to her by anybody. But I always knew of Jag. I always knew that Jag was very talented at, during that time, and she was on her way. I know the work she had did with the Roots, because I was big fan of the Roots, big fan of Malik B, who was a good friend of Jag's.
Mhm.
Um, well, so we kind of clicked in that sense, right? And
Mhm.
that's how Jag and I became more acquainted. I said friendship, but when I look back on it in retrospect, I was a more of a friend to her than she ever was to me. So, but it is what it is, and I just saw the pendulum change, with her from, her speaking her truth, or her experience from
Uh-huh.
her perspective, talking about these people that she's talking about, to something else, then noticing that the whole perspective and her whole stance started changing when she would get into it with all these other YouTubers, things that I know she was lying about and things of that nature. And so over that course of period of time, of course, I still stayed uh, friends with her, but she and I would always have big arguments about some of the things she was saying and doing on YouTube.
Mhm.
You know, I know was lies, or that I didn't agree with, or think that it was cool morally. Some of the things she was saying and doing. So, but I do
So,
that to all my friends.
right.
On the back end. I don't front my friends, in on a public platform. I said go to them and I say, hey, that was foul what you did or what you said, blah blah blah, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. And it is, and so she and I would have these knockout, dragged out fights about a lot of that stuff, until it got to the point where by the time we got done with the whole BB Films thing, I was kind of over it.
So, what was your introduction to BB Films?
My introduction to BB Films was through Jaguar Wright.
Oh
Jag,
wow.
yeah, Jag knew that I was a good business person, right? Like I'm good with contracts, I'm good with negotiations and things like that because a lot of people don't know. I also used to manage a girls group, and I'll talk about that. But
Yes.
so she knew I was good with stuff like that. So out of the blue one day, she just called me and said, "Hey, I got this opportunity, to work with this film company out of Vegas, and I know you got, a lot of contacts and associates and stuff like that in Vegas from me being in the business." I was like, "Oh, okay, what's up?" So she told me about everything, and she said she wanted me to specifically work with the owner, which everybody know now is Johnny, right? John Brown.
Hmm. Right.
So, yeah. So everybody, so I said, cool. So, um, she said, I want you to go to Vegas. We had a couple phone conversations and meetings over the phone with the introduction about the plans, what all, they wanted to do with Jag. And I would talk about, her contract, but what all she would require in her contract, which is what we did. So I negotiated everything from her housing, her
So you were
transportation.
being a friend.
Yeah, not just that, but she also asked me to kind of be that business savvy person to do that for her. So
So
not
would you
just that,
say you were her
that's how
representative?
yeah, up until the point where I guess she decided she needed an executive assistant, and then that's when she got Kimmy to come in there and to take over and do things for her. But I am the one that negotiated her contract for her with John and with BB Films now, as far as everything from her housing, her transportation. I told him she didn't have nowhere to stay, she didn't have no clothes, she didn't have no money, none of that, right? They
Hmm.
provided her all of that, with all of that. And in good faith, when John and I met, in good faith, he was like, okay, I'm gonna send her, something just to put in her pocket before she get there. And he did just that on the good faith and strength of him meeting me and him knowing that I was a stand up person, that he saw that everything that I said I would do, I did. Everything that I said I will be a part of, I gave 110%. So John entrusted me to that based off of what I was saying. The only thing I told him, because he was like, yeah, well, I heard, she's problematic and, she don't listen to nobody. I said, that's true. I said, and don't think this because she and I are friends, she's gonna listen to me, because she don't listen to nobody. She do what she want to do, and I'm telling you, I say you will probably be the person that will hold more power over her than anybody, because you the boss man, right? So when you put your foot down with things, that will probably make Jag move to a certain extent, because at that time she didn't have anywhere to go, she didn't have no money, she didn't have no transportation, she didn't have no clothes. So all those things, hair, makeup, wardrobe, all of that was put into her contract, along with whatever stipend that she would get once she had completed the first season of her podcast, right? So,
Hmm.
and me and Chris, y'all know, y'all met Chris on another platform, but
Right.
was her co-host on her show. And the perspective was we all have our own different opinions, our own mindset, we are able to express that individually as we are, which I thought was a great concept because I knew sometime it will be, two females against a male, or it'll be my perspective against Chris' perspective, or my perspective
A
against
balance.
and Jags against Chris, whatever, which makes it a great show because if
Yeah.
you have a show where everybody's agreeing with everything you say, that's not
Mm.
that's not real. That's a yes person, and I'm never that. I'm never that. I'm
So let
always
me
gonna
ask you
be.
this. Do you feel like the chemistry during the podcast was genuine or was there a lot of conflict?
The chemistry was genuine and it was conflict, and I'm like,
Mm.
it was genuine because Jag was being how Jag is, right? Everybody
Uh-huh.
know Jag can be extra, right? And I was being myself. I was challenging things. I was pushing back on things. And then Chris was giving his perspective, right? And sometime I agree with Chris and sometime I didn't. And I think y'all saw that when we did the interview with the attorney who was my ex, right? That we brought on when the old Cassie thing first came out, right? I
Uh-huh.
think y'all saw that fiasco of a show once Jag showed up. It was being carried very well, very professional. Even when I disagreed with the attorney, even when I disagreed with Chris, I did it in a professional way, and the energy was just there. And to be able to carry the show, even up until Jag came, and the energy shift. And listen, and I will say, Jag was almost 2 hours late for her own show, and at that time she hadn't gotten a guest to be on her show because everybody was leery, including Lou and Lunell, to come on her show because of what they see she do on social media. And so I said, okay, well, the Cassie thing was big at the time. I said, let's do that show, get an attorney on, and let's talk about the lawsuit, and let's break that down, and let's have that conversation, right? So we did that. And after that, all shit went to hell because I had no idea, and I saw it later on that Jag was very, very jealous and envious of the fact that um, everybody was giving me the kudos for carrying the show, and said the energy changed and it wouldn't have been, it was a hot mess, and I carried the show until the end of the show. She was upset about that. Well, first of all, if this is your show, you need to show up on time. Number one, especially when someone else gets you a guest, you don't
Now,
have a
I'm
someone
I'm gonna
else gets
ask
you.
this question. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, someone get you a guest, and then you show up 2 hours late. Like, people got time to wait on you and to cater to you in that manner. And listen, we didn't pay him. He did that on the strength of our friendship. You know what I mean? And then you send people time, which is the reason why I told him to show up an hour later than the time, because I knew Jag was going to be late. But then not only did she take up that hour later after the time I told him to show up, she still extended it, and it was almost another hour late. And
Mm.
people got things to do in time, including us, me and Chris. Like, everybody was pissed. We had the director that was there was pissed. We had John that was pissed, and he just said, "Y'all know what? Go ahead, start without her." So that's how that happened. And then you walk in there and you be like, well, I thought this was Patrice's show. No, it's the Jaguar Wright show. But Patrice is holding it down for you until you get there. And then that's the thanks you show. And it was just no appreciation, for the things that I had did for her.
Mm. So I want to go back to where you said you were a manager for a girl group. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. And so some years ago, many years ago, I want to say it might have been the mid 90s. I managed this girls group with my ex, was a big producer in the industry. He worked with Keith Washington. He worked with an artist named Johnny P, who's no longer with us because he suddenly died, but he had some success. He worked with P.D. Pablo. He worked with a lot of people in the industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was producing their songs, and I was managing this group. And at the time, they were out of Chicago because I was still living in Chicago. And these girls, my girls, actually opened up for Tamar Braxton back in the day. I don't know if a lot of people know, but
Oh wow.
Tamar Braxton had a hit song back in the mid '90s. Y'all look it up. I can't even think of the name of the song now. It's been a while. But
Mhm.
Tamar came to Chicago to do a show, and my girls opened up for her. They got major uh, communication, and they got major radio time, magazine time, and things of that nature. And that is where those girls met R. Kelly and his team. Now, I knew R. Kelly already. I go way back with R. Kelly before he became famous. I lived in the same community as R.
Yeah.
Kelly. He was younger. Again, he was younger, so he was more my sister and brother's age. They went to school with him. But once he became grown, he would get in talent contests that we used to get in. And y'all, when
Mhm.
I tell y'all, when he would not win, he was a sore loser. Oh my God! But the thing about it is, he became more famous than any of us did. So you
Mhm.
know, in that interim, he got the last laugh on that, right?
Mhm.
By this time, when my girls opened up for Tamar Braxton, he showed up with his team, and my girls met R. Kelly. They went crazy over R. Kelly, and at that time I was done with R. Kelly because that whole thing with the 14-year-old girl, that tape and all
Right.
that was out. So I was done. I'll say this: we knew about the rumors in our neighborhood about R. Kelly and his mom and his family and all of that, because it was rumored that R. Kelly was sleeping with a cousin of his. It was rumored that R. Kelly had been touched by this guy in our community that we knew was gay, but he had allegedly touched R. Kelly, and and there was a court. The police was called. The man went to jail. There was a trial and things of that nature that went on. And it was alleged. I'm gonna say alleged because I don't know it to be true, but it was rumored in our neighborhood that the man didn't go to jail and do no real time because he paid R. Kelly's mother off. It was alleged he paid her $5,000 for her to not show up at court, and they throw the case out. That was rumored in our neighborhood then. It was also rumored in our neighborhood about R. Kelly that he had been touched by his grandfather and by his sister. And his sister was like one of the main culprits that touched him, and allegedly uh, his other brothers, right? And they spoke on
Mhm.
that on another platform. So by the time my girls met R. Kelly, and I had three girls, right,
Uh-huh.
in this girls group. One of those girls was underage. Now I'm managing these girls, and they started hanging out real heavy with R. Kelly's team, trying to get to R. Kelly, and all of that. So they listening to these guys from R. Kelly's camp try to y'all try to talk them, and then they don't need me, they don't need a manager because they wanted to manage them because they had to hook up with R. Kelly and so forth and so on. And so they would come and tell me these things
What?
on. So by that time, by that time, two of the girls I know for sure had started dating people from R. Kelly's camp, right? And
Mm.
so what I did was I I released them from their contract with me because they would no longer listen to me on my directions as their manager, and telling them that this is not the way to go, because I had already knew about the history with R. Kelly and young girls. I had already knew R. Kelly and that whole history. I didn't think it was a bright idea. I told them, I know R. Kelly. Do you think if I'm knowing him that I would trust him with you ladies? I said, that's why I never brought his name up to you all. I would never, ever trust him with you all and to work with you all. But guess what? You're not listening to me, so you do what you want to do. But what I did now, to the
Mhm.
young that was underage, I called her mother and I said, listen, I said, your daughter is hanging over yonder.
Mhm.
And this is what's going on. I said, I'm releasing her from the contract. I said, because they no longer want to be managed by me. I said, so, and me and my ex had put a lot of bread up front, you know, for
Mhm.
these girls to get it back on the back end. So I released them. So I lost money. I lost a lot of money dealing with them, right? To let them
Mhm.
go and let them go and pursue, messing around with people from R. Kelly's team, right? So now
Right.
I'm hearing the grapevine that that the girls got into it with each other and they broke up the group because they all started going with each other's men's over there on the camp or whatever. And that broke them up.
Mm.
One of the girls came back to me, wanted me to manage them again. And I was like, oh no, I am done. I said, I will never, ever, 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 ever do that again.
But if you
So,
ever want to manage somebody ever again, you can manage me.
so I parted ways with them. Then I heard that, and my ex is gonna, he and I are gonna do an interview, and we're gonna talk about even get more in deeper to it. But
Hmm.
um, one of the girls ended up following R. Kelly all the way to Atlanta.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I was afraid that when that documentary came out, I was afraid I was gonna see them girls on there. Now
Mm.
I didn't see them on there because I remember calling my ex. I was like, "Oh my God, this documentary! Who we gonna see on there?" And I was like, "You think we can see Jaguar on there?" He was like, "I hope not." So I'm sitting there with pins and needles, literally praying to God. And I didn't see him on there, but that's not to say that they wasn't a victim just because you didn't see
Right.
him on there, right? Because
So
for
do you
sure,
have
I
any? Do you still have connections with them to this day?
know I lost connections with them. I lost connection. The one girl, which was the youngest girl, she was the one that came back and wanted me to manage her. And actually, to be honest, she was the best singer out of all of them. She was the best singer.
Mm.
I just, I was so done and so hurt and so just, I was just so disappointed in the fact that they were easily swayed. And I get it,
Right.
like those people over there with R. Kelly, they big. Those girls really thought that, that they were gonna get to R. Kelly and R. Kelly was gonna help them become
Mm.
this big group. And at the time I didn't have as much pull and power, of course, as R. Kelly. So
Right.
of course I was like, okay, well y'all go over there and good luck, which I knew, if anything, at best, that they would be hurt by those young men over there from his team. And after the last conversation, my ex ended up telling me about the girl that followed R. Kelly to Atlanta. And I was like, oh my God. He was like, yeah, because she reached out to me a couple of times. I was like, oh wow, which I never knew because he had moved back home to North Carolina and I had moved from Chicago to Vegas. So we all kind of like lost touch for a while. And
Mm.
so I never heard from or seen them again. And, I wish them well. I hope they're good and things of that nature. But then I concentrated more on myself and my career in the blues sector, which is, what I continue to do with touring and background singing and working in the back end in production and stuff like that in the entertainment industry for the longest.
So, what is one dream collaboration that you have, dead or alive?
Oh my God. Dead. I really wished I could have collabed with Amy Winehouse. She's one of my favorite artists.
Mm.
I love that young lady. I think that her voice was so unique and rare in the
Yeah.
industry, and it was so necessary. I never got to see her. I never got to meet her or anything like that, but I would have loved to collaborate with her because she was like this bluesy, jazzy singer. She had a little
Hmm.
bit, all of that, even R&B. Like she was so versatile in her stance on how she um did her music. And she grew up with singers, like some of her favorite singers was like some of mine, like Donny Hathaway and people like that. Like she grew up on Billie Holiday, just listening to the jazz. And she would always tell people she's a jazz singer, even though I think they put her in this kind of popish category.
Hmm.
She's genuinely a jazz singer. But yeah, I would have loved to work with her. And she was that younger generation that was coming up that had that old soul. So I wish I would have loved to collab with her. Alive today, oh, that's a tough one because Mm, I
Everybody
can't,
sound the same.
yeah, and I can't think of anybody from the younger generation that I would
There
probably
is
collab.
none.
Maybe this new guy. He's kind of new. October London. I don't know if y'all know of him.
Yes, I love
I think
him.
he's so
Oh my
dope.
gosh.
Oh my god. From a younger generation, him. From an older generation, maybe somebody like Gladys Knight.
Yeah, I can see you performing with her.
Somebody like that. Somebody like
Yeah.
that for sure. And a funny story about her. I went out to audition to be a background singer for her because I got friends that background sing for her and Shaka. And
Hmm.
I had me and my girlfriend had got the gig until she found out we wasn't Mormons. I don't know if you all know that Gladys Knight is a Mormon. She's a high deacon.
What? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah. She's married to a guy that was a Mormon. She became Mormon. She's high deacon up in the Mormon religion. And at the time that we auditioned for her, she didn't want nobody that wasn't a Mormon to background sing for her. So that's the reason why I didn't get the gig, you guys.
Oh.
But yeah, but so on from that, I was able to do my dream, which was perform in Vegas.
Mhm.
Patrice.
What was that experience like?
Oh my God, it was so awesome portraying the legendary Etta James. And when you performing in Vegas and you doing a portrayal of another artist, somebody
Uh-huh.
legendary, you have to dress like them, look like them from that era that they
You
come
gotta
from.
adapt their mannerisms, everything.
Exactly. So I dressed in that retro 50s, 60s look that she had. I had the Etta
Hmm.
James. I had about the Etta James attire and everything like that. I watched her mannerism and how she performed on stage. And then I brought a little bit of myself to it as well. So, and I did
Yeah.
that for a few years in Vegas. So that, oh my God, that was a dream come true for me to be able to do that. And that's where I met a lot of celebrities that have second homes or now have retired in Las Vegas. Again, that's where I
Hmm.
met Albie Shore. That's where I met Flavor Flav. That's where I met Teddy Riley. That's where I met Glodine from the Love Unlimited. She was married to Barry White. I
Hmm.
became good friends with Zeola Gay, who is the baby sister of Marvin Gaye, with Barry Gordy's daughter. She lives there, Sherry Gordy. I became good friends with her. So just it's a lot of people that are in the industry that lived out. I met one of my favorite all-time legendary artists, performer, singer, dancers from back in the day. Y'all, she was out probably before you was born. Her name was Lola Falana.
I heard about her. We had to study her.
Yeah, Lola Falana. Oh my God!
She was a major entertainer.
When I saw that black woman on TV in Vegas, then she was the it girl, one of the first black, singer dancers in Vegas.
Hmm.
I just fell in love, and I knew that one day I wanted to see my name and face in lights like hers, and I got the opportunity to do that. I got the opportunity to meet her. By the time I met her, of course, she's stricken with MS, so she's in a wheelchair.
Mm.
But it was just an honor and a pleasure to meet her.
Okay. So let me ask you this question, and then I'm gonna drop the link and allow people to come up if you're okay with it. Um,
Sure.
if you could say anything to a little girl that has the same dream that you have of seeing their names in lights and that just want to sing because they love singing, what would you tell them?
Well, that's really a great question because I already have done that, right? Because my granddaughter unfortunately wants to be in the industry, right? So of course I had
Aww.
a conversation with her. Uh, you know, Number one, always be true to yourself. Don't let nobody change who you are, not as a person, but even as an artist. Because let me tell you what happens in the industry. Sometimes they'll try to change you to make you what they want you to be,
Mm-hmm.
and you lose yourself in your artistry of who you are as an artist. Don't let them do that to you, and definitely keep the right people around you that have your best interests at heart, and don't sell your soul. And you know what I mean by selling your soul.
I got you.
You don't have to get on that casting couch. You don't have to sleep your way. You don't
To the
have
top. Oh.
do some of the nefarious things that they exploited a lot of these female artists and male artists, I can say, but a lot of female artists got really exploited coming up in the time that I was in the industry. And I will tell y'all, a proposal was made to me, and because I had the protection of my cousin in the
Mm-hmm.
industry, he was a man, a male artist. I thank God, because
Mm-hmm.
it's very cutthroat. And they will come at you. But I was the young lady. Oh no, don't mess with her. That's Tyrone Davis' cousin. And I was also that girl. Was she that straight laced girl? She don't participate in. Back then they were threesomes and menage a trois, right?
Mm-hmm.
Orgies. They were orgies, things of that nature. That went on when I was in the industry. So did the cocaine, all of that, right? I've
So
been
you never
exposed.
went to no freak offs? No, I'm just
No,
playing.
no, because I was that girl that that's Tyrone Davis' cousin. And she straight laced. She don't do that. So I wouldn't get invited to those type of parties. Thank God. And
Mm-hmm.
also, it also hurt me and hindered me a lot, because I didn't get a lot of opportunities.
Right.
Because I was that straight laced girl. I had an opportunity to once background for Natalie Cole, and during that time, she didn't. If you did not do that, you couldn't even be around Natalie Cole. So I didn't get the gigs
Mm-hmm.
background for her, because she didn't. She only wanted people that did that during that time. I Natalie Cole and People Bryson used to hang out at my son's auntie's house after they did a concert, and that's all they did. And it's just the honest to God truth. I was around it my whole life, so I definitely was exposed to it. But thank God, I just never indulged in it. And when you don't indulge, and when you are that straight laced person, it's good and it's bad, because I missed a lot of opportunities, and things because of that. And then the good part was, thank you for not inviting me to your party, because I know what it's about. You know what I mean? So
Right. So I just dropped the link if anybody wants to come up and ask OG Patrice any question that I did not ask. I dropped the link. Please be reminded we have lives. So please limit your questions to 2 minutes or less. You cool with
and
that?
after yeah, and after we do that, we can talk about the pictures that I sent you to. You still got those? Because I definitely
Yeah.
want the Kim Porter's cousin thing and how that came about.
I can't load it into the StreamYard, I don't think. Let me see. I'm about to try. Give me a
Okay.
second. But yeah, I dropped the link for y'all if y'all want to come up, ask a question, weigh
Yes,
in.
being an
Somebody
industry.
asked a question earlier though. They were like, did you perform with somebody? But I think it's gone now. Um,
I'll tell them to put it in the chat
can you
again.
put the comment again? Stacy says OG Patrice is one of the few who maintain her grace dignity in class. Absolutely.
Thank you, Stacy. Oh, and I will say too, I was about to go on tour when I met Albie Shore. He heard me singing at this place in Vegas called the Cork and Thorn. That's where I met him, and he heard me singing, and he handpicked me, wanted me to background sing for him when he was going to do the I Love the 90s tour with people like Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, all of them, right? All of those old schoolers back from the 80s and 90s. They was doing this tour called I Love the 90s tour. And
Mm.
and hear me sing, he was like, I want you to background sing for me. He didn't even like, he was like, you ain't got to go through the audition process. He was like, I hear you sing all the time when I come in here. So he handpicked me himself to be on that tour with him. And then right just before the tour got set on and he was supposed to be on, is when he got sick, mysteriously sick. So yeah, so having the opportunity of being able to work with him. And I'm hoping and praying that now that he's healing, and I know he's busy now with getting ready to do his documentary of his life story, and all
Hold
of
on,
that. But
OG Patrice. I gotta step out for a minute.
okay, I would
My son.
still love to work with him. Did you want me to keep talking or?
Yeah, my son just called. I gotta take this.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, so you guys, being in the industry has had its pros and cons. And I will say it has had more, for me, it has had more pros than cons because I never set out to be some famous person. I just wanted to perform and do what I love to do and work with people that wanted me to work with them, that wanted me to be a part of their projects and things of that nature. So, um, having that being said, I can tell the story about when I was approached and made a proposal in Vegas for um with some people, a friend of mine who is a pretty prominent blues artist. He and I was working on some material for him, and he was going to be working with me to do my first blues project, right? And so we were at his house one day, and he lives in the neighborhood right across the street from the house where Neo grew up in. And Neo family members still live in this house right to this day because they own the house. So we see we see this big old limousine pull up, right? And we don't know who it is. He's like, it ain't prom and then this big old, you know, Lincoln Navigator stretch limo pulls up, and it was Neo. And my friend was like, that's Neil. Let's run across the street. Let's talk to Neil, right? So we did. We ran across the street to talk to Neil. So we got to talking to Neil about this proposal that was made to my friend and I. We went to this meeting with these big executives that was telling us they can make us as big as blues star as BB King, as big as blues star as this person and that person, right? But of course, the conversation went to we would have had to sell our souls. They wanted to videotape us, in sexual acts with each other and other people, people of the opposite sex and
Okay, I'm
people of the
back. I'm sorry. Keep
people of
going. I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know I'm back.
Yeah, so that was the proposal that me and my friend got, and of course we turned it down. And then you see we ain't famous, right? You see ain't neither one of us became this famous blues stars because we said no to that proposal. But when we saw Neo, we told him about that because we know that Neo had big history in Vegas. And Neo looked at us and said, "I know exactly who y'all talking about because." These people made me the same proposal, and he was like, and that's why I left and went to California. But now I'm hearing some bad things about Neo, so I'm really hate that. But that was my experience and story with Neo. You guys, in Vegas, he still visits his family at the family house that him and his mother owns, that he grew up in back in Vegas, and it just happened to be exactly across the street from where my friend lives. But I had that opportunity one time to meet him and to talk to him and have that conversation.
Mm, I don't know where
So,
we left off at, but did you answer this question?
what's the question?
It said, "Did you do any music with John Lee Hooker? You told me before you know about Boom Boom Room."
Yeah, yeah, I know about Boo Boom Room, but no, I never did any thing with John Lee Hooker. I definitely know of him for sure, but and the Boo Boom Room, but no, I've never worked with him.
Okay, and Stacy says, "OG Patrice, how long do you think you will continue singing, or how long do you hope to continue singing?"
I'm gonna sing until I can't sing no more.
I know
Until
that's
I
right.
until I don't have no more breath in this body. Okay. I will
Right.
continue to sing. I perform here with the band here in Arizona, and I'm very happy doing that. And I mean, I am about to work with my friend who was that guy, that blues person I told you that where we got proposition together. I'm getting ready to work and do some original stuff. So that's what I'm working on.
Period.
Yeah.
Just don't forget about us small people, okay?
Oh, never that. Look,
Period.
I'm always in these YouTube streets. Come on now. Listen, no matter how big of a mansion party I've been to, platform I've been on tours and all of that, y'all. I used to be so happy to get home, to get to some normalcy, to get to just be able to just take off my clothes and lay in my bed and just watch some TV or get on the phone with family or friends. That was my normal, because y'all know why? Because doing that, being exposed to a lot of that craziness was abnormal to me. And I thank God that I didn't subside to that, that I didn't fall into that, that I did not sell my soul. Only thing I wanted to do was what I love to do: get on that stage and perform, get paid, and leave. That's it. I went to a few
Right.
parties here and there, but they were more straight laced parties. Y'all know right now, today, I perform every year for Rihanna's father. I perform every year for his birthday party because Rihanna's father is engaged to my girlfriend right now.
Mm.
And
So,
so,
Stacey
go
has
ahead.
another question. She says, "OG Patrice, I know you love style. What's your favorite hairstyle to perform in, or do you, or you have performed in?" I'm sorry.
When I was doing Etta James, I loved wearing that retro wig from the 50s and 60s. I love wearing the retro.
Period.
I love doing that. And but now, honey, I love my short blonde hair. Right now, I love performing that right now because I performed in wigs and stuff for so much for so long. It just feels good to wear my natural hair.
Mm,
So natural is the only way to go right now for me, unless I'm doing a particular show where I have to wear a wig for like a certain era or something. Like I'm getting ready to do a stage play and it was set back in the 80s. So of course I have to wear the clothes and the hair from the 80s. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
it depends on whatever type of work that I get is what era it's in is how I have to look and
Right.
perform and dress
Right.
for that era.
So I have two more questions for you because I gotta go pick my son up from the airport. Um, Stacy said, if one song or genre could describe you, what would they be?
If one what?
If one song or genre could describe you, what would they be?
Oh, I definitely love the genre of blues, and I love it because it doesn't discriminate by age, it doesn't discriminate by race, and you can cross over as a black artist. White folk love blues just as well as black people. So I like to be able to have that safe haven, to be able to, if I put something out, it's gonna be to the masses of both races of people that love blues music. I would love to do something on the likes of the Etta Jameses of the world, which is the reason why I picked her to portray her, because nobody was doing her, and she's one of the great legendary blues singers of our time. So definitely something like that. That's a great question,
Okay.
Stacey.
And the very last request that I have and Jay Bliss have, would you mind rendering us a piece of a song before you leave the neighborhood?
And y'all put me on the spot. Oh my
You be
God.
doing it to me. Sing a song. See?
Okay, I'm gonna do my best. I've been rehearsing all
I'm
week,
a
y'all.
mute up.
So y'all see my voice is kind of a little raspy. I'm gonna try to sing in my falsetto. At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh, yeah, yeah. At last, the skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover the night that I looked at you. All right, that's just a little something in the
You better
falsetto.
sing.
Because
You
my
better sing,
voice,
girl.
I have been
Somebody
in
said sing
rehearsal.
Valerie.
Oh, I love Valerie.
I'm gonna mute up
Well,
again, and then I gotta let you go.
I like myself, and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Well, since I come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. I want you come on over, stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, oh Valerie, oh Valerie, why don't you come on over, Valerie? There you go.
Sing! You can sing, Auntie. You can sing. Okay?
Thank you.
Don't let
I
nobody play
appreciate it.
with you. You can sing. I want to be like you when I grow up. But nah, thank you so much for having this conversation with us. I would love to do a part two at a later date because I can't get the pictures to load in StreamYard. But we can do a part two, digging into like the specifics of who you've met in the industry, and you can maybe give some industry stories if you're up to it.
Absolutely, because definitely with all this Diddy stuff that's going on, I want to tell the story of Keena Porter, who is Kim Porter's first cousin that I met,
Absolutely.
and I went to her funeral. I definitely want to tell that story, you guys. So yeah, let's do a part two.
Definitely. And I'll tell you what, we can do the part two on my other channel and stream it to this one.
Okay. All right, baby girl.
That's a bet. Y'all, thank y'all so much for coming through the neighborhood. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Y'all make sure y'all share this video. Make sure y'all show love to my auntie, yo auntie, our auntie, some of y'all sister, OG Patrice in the chat.
I'm everybody.
I
I'm everybody, auntie. It's okay.
everybody auntie.
I'll be the OG auntie. It's all good. I'll take that. Thank you, Nay. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
No
Thank you.
problem. And I
Salute to
thank you
the
for
chat.
allowing me to help you tell your story.
Oh, no problem. Part two coming up, y'all.
Absolutely. I love y'all. I gotta go get my baby. I haven't seen him since his birthday. So I gotta go get my baby.
Oh, yeah. Go get
Right.
your baby. You be careful driving too.
That joint custody is a motherfucker. But God is good. All right. I love y'all. And until the next
Love you.
time,
All
be
right. Bye.
blessed. Mwah.